me come to you, Andrew of the PDP. What the feel has been like in your party. I know that one of the things that your party has been proud of is the position of its national youth leader and the person who's currently occupying. I find it a little strange, though, that he has a chief of staff. But hey, I mean, different strokes for different folks. So what exactly has it been like? Has that been able to rouse some excitement within the youths of your party as to how they're going to be participating in the elections?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me this morning. It's actually been an awesome moment. It's been an awesome time in our party, and you know, there's a whole lot of revolution going on in our party. You know, the atmosphere is changing since the emergence of Prince Mohammed Kandede. You know, we've had so much diversification in terms of the way the party system operates, because in the history of Nigerian politics, this is the first time we'll be having a young lad, you know, coming into politics at that level and that kind of age. And it's somebody who started politics very, very early. At the age of 13, he was already involved in grassroots politics, a very strong grassroots politician. And that have played out, that brought him to limelight where he is today. And since his emergence as a national youth leader, that have changed so many things among the National Work Committee, the BOT.
You talked about diversification. What exactly has diversified?
A lot of diversification in terms of affirmative actions as regards giving attention to the youth. Like, for the first time in our party, you can see that we are making farm practically free for the youth. Look at the price of farm, and I know a whole lot of work that youth leaders have done to ensure that we got the price that we're getting right now for the youth.
What's the price you're getting for the youth?
From 30 years, it's you're paying 50%, which is 600,000 naira. So with 600,000 naira, you can become a National Assembly House of Assembly. But what we're doing right now, the advocacy from the youth wing that our national youth is championing, is to ensure that we take it from down to up. Because the challenges that we're facing in this part of the world, you know, everybody just want to be a president, want to be a governor. But the truth remains, we forgot the role of party politics. And if we must get our leaders, if we must understand and play in the system effectively well, we must come in through party politics, make it much more easier for us. Because the system has been designed in such a way that the youth have been marginalized. Our generation have, you know, been put aside. And we've come to understand that the best strategy we can penetrate through leadership position in this government or in this present dispensation is to come in through party politics. So how do you do that? You encourage young people to go in for councillorship position, to go into ward leader position, local government leader position. By the time you grab leadership from the grassroots, from the ward level, gradually, take an example of this demography. If at the world level, we're doing party politics at the world level, and everybody that are ESCO there, they are below the age of 30. They'll be able to influence things at the local government level. I'm talking about party politics. Same thing, if at the local government level, leaders at the local government level, they are, let's say, 35 down to 25. You will influence it at the senatorial level. Same thing goes to the state level. Now, by the time you begin to influence things from the party politics angle, you can make changes on who governs you as a councillor. And say, if the people at my ward, what ESCOs I have, they are between 25 and 35. They can determine, because they are delegates, they can determine who becomes their local government chairman. And they can say, oh, fine, if we, that the delegates are between 25 to 30 or 35, we want a local government chairman that should not be above 35 or between 35 and 25. They can influence who becomes the National Assembly member who represent their constituency. So what we are championing from the youth wing since the emergence of our youth leader that brought victory, we want to ensure that since he came in through party politics, let's influence youth, young people, to go into party politics so that we can influence things at the elective level, the main politics. So if you come in through that level across political board, I bet you to take over hands of affair in this country.
So you are encouraging young people to go for elective positions at the lower level?
Yeah, through party politics, so that they can influence things at the main election. It will help them very well.
So that's on the one hand, while we're talking about elective positions, and that's extremely important, because people will be asking whether or not, I mean, after all the agitation for the Not Too Young to Run Act, was it just for the sake of it, or did young people really mean it? Now that we have the act, what exactly are they doing with it? There'll be questions in that regard. But then there's also the question of more and more young people getting involved in politics, and getting interested in the process, not just staying staying online and talking about and whining, but actually actively going out to get their voter registration cards. How is that drive coming along in politics? Because when I asked, some of the experts this morning, they did say that that should also be the responsibility of political parties, because they are the greatest beneficiary of the votes that eventually come out of the election. So how are you, pushing that within your political parties, that more and more young people get registered, be active, and at least own a voter's card if you're not going to join political parties? Absolutely. At the minimum?
Absolutely.
How is that going?
Yeah, that's the place of sensitization, by setting up structures down to the grassroots level, which I earlier said. When you're able to sensitize people, now you have to come in, make them understand the importance of their votes. We've been so discouraged in this part of the world at the political level that we felt that voting is a waste of time, and that is what we're trying to discourage. We're discussing something before we came into the studio that, look, if you look at the elders activists that are before us, the strength, the vigor they have, the energy they have to pull through is gradually declining, handing it over to our present generation. Now, we are pulling through. Now, and we are getting discouraged because there's always a divide and rule that our elders always do among the young generation. I come from a student union angle, from an activist angle. So the game of divide and rule still plays out among this generation, like just throw chance for them and they'll be divided. Now we felt, okay, there is a need for the young generation to come together and speak with one voice. And what will be that voice? That's your voter's card. And if every youth, in our demography have this voter's card and can actually put through and said, we want a youth, irrespective of where you come from, irrespective of your financial status, we know what you possess, we know your potentials, we know your qualities, we want you to go and represent us, because the only people who are full of witty ideas, creative inventions and innovations is from our generations. So we cannot just sit down and be complaining that our elders are not giving us chance. So let's get involved. Fine, all of us cannot be in elective position.
Now, I'm asking how that is going. I'm glad that you pointed out the fact that